What is dealership fixed ops all about? Kaylee Felio, aka the Parts Girl, is here to tell us more. Allie Peters, VP of Service Operations at Cavender Auto Group, also joining us live. So please ask your questions, say hello, make new friends, and network with the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Industry Logistics on ATI Auto Business, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. So I'm going to go to Sue here. Hey, let's help me welcome Sue to the show.
Hello.
Sue, hey, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you. So we're talking about fixed ops.
Right.
And, right, so if I said to you, right, what is it? Okay, and I know the feeling. I've been in a room where everybody else knew what it was. This is kind of how the automotive industry is that we know what we know. It's not just automotive, but I see it a lot. So we're going to talk about fixed ops. What is fixed ops? And if I say dealer service department, then that means more.
Right.
But fixed ops is more than just the dealer service department, I think. We have the Parts Girl with us to tell us more. Hello, YouTube. Hello, LinkedIn. Do me a favor. Let's go ahead and, is that the right button? I don't know. You know, sometimes I don't know, Sue. But that's okay. Okay. Here's the Parts Girl, Kaylee Felio. She's with us. And that means, here, camera one, that means this is the automotive industry show where you can ask the really dumb questions. I've already asked them. I'll probably ask them again. So welcome to ATI Auto Business, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. So Kaylee is with, I think she's with PartsEdge. She's going to tell us more about what PartsEdge is, what it means to be the Parts Girl and have the Parts Girl podcast. So yeah, what is fixed ops? Fixed operations would be everything involved with repairing a car. Dealer service business. Is it that complicated? How much really is going on in this photo? Actually, a lot. And you know what? I see logistics. Right? That's a lot of logistics. Okay. Should be a t-shirt. And that's why I say ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry works. I know there is somebody live or on demand that doesn't know what fixed ops is, and you're going to learn more about it, because I would say know more about your ecosystem. And Tuesday night, I had Jonathan Shaw, the president of Hemmings Classic Car Marketplace, on my Tuesday night show. That was cool. This guy's cool. His buddy Chris, who works in trucks, is cool. You can go to Hemmings.com, search for vintage cars. They have a bunch of services and resources and education. And you know what? What I learned? Yeah, if you go to sell your custom or vintage car and you do it private to private without using a marketplace, you are taking a risk. You can do it. Just don't get paid in gift cards. This is our Thursday show. 2 weeks ago, we had keys to hauling cars for dealerships. I don't know if you've seen this. Sue, this thing's over 1,000 views. You can't night drop everything? I think it's pretty cool short. So that's pretty cool. It's making the rounds on LinkedIn too. All right, show me the truck. We got Kaylee up in here in 10 minutes. May used truck sales rise 18% from 2023. Does that surprise you? May used truck sales rise 18%. Oh, and I can't hear you because you're on courtesy mute. Because you're courteous. Still courteous. That should be a t-shirt. Are you still courteous? I still can't hear you. But I could before.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Oh, okay. Huh. Okay.
You're very courteous. Did you know? I don't know.
No.
Does it
No,
surprise
it kind
you?
of makes sense a little bit because we have had an influx of people calling in, new drivers. So that kind of makes sense in a way.
Okay, yeah. There you go. All right, good. I'm glad it makes sense. I just found it really interesting, because I thought we were still losing drivers, but I guess we have drivers replacing.
I think we are, and I think they're coming in almost as fast as they're going out.
Wow,
Really.
wow,
There's a lot of new ones. I get calls all the time.
really?
Yeah.
You know, do you see? I had a couple emails. We're gonna come up on those. We're gonna roll up on these emails here in a second. Let's just do that. Let's roll up on these emails. Here's one. Hey Jay, this group Inc. is currently uninsured, unlicensed. They forged a certificate of insurance, used phony phone numbers. They work very closely with a company called Blank Fleet Inc. They booked a load, sent in a forged and fraudulent COI.
Wow.
They are new to Central. In my conversation with their insurance broker, he alleged he received a phone call from a different freight broker every week with the same issue.
Wow.
Whoa. Now
This is great, though.
you'd think that, like, I wouldn't fuzz the names out. Since I can't independently verify it, I feel like, I need to at least try to maintain some sense of
Right.
legitimacy. They're based out of Philadelphia, PA, he said. So I think there's enough information you might be able to figure out if you're dealing with this company. And Zeb has been very active on LinkedIn recently. He's got a new format of a post, PSA scammers. He said, this one I didn't fuzz out. He is super sure that express link carriers and on the way freight services
Really?
have it. That's what he says.
I want to go look them up now.
I'm
Wait,
just sharing
you
what
keep
he
talking.
said.
I'm going to go look them up.
Well, and that's why, this is why I said, hey, Zeb, Camera One, you should come on the show. Zeb said that, I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyways, he's sharing this information. This is helpful to the community.
Yeah.
Zeb, I think your camera ready, buddy. Anyways, he also said that this company also is a problem. And he's made other videos where, he's talking into camera. And, he's communicating with Super Dispatch. And
Yeah, and this is definitely stuff we all need to know.
well, that's the thing. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to do our part. Hey, I'm new to dispatching. Ran across your YouTube page. Started watching your videos going back 6 years. Do you still have the incredible worksheet that you go by? Actually, somebody asked me if I could put the worksheet online somewhere. I'm going to put it on the website. I'll get around to that. But yeah, people like this dispatcher training course. In fact, somebody asked me, hey, I just want to make sure it's still current. Thank you very much. And I said, well, basically, it is basically the fundamentals are current. The technology has changed, right?
Right.
And the forms of payment have changed, but otherwise, I
Yes.
think most of it's pretty
Well,
legit.
yeah, a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be some changes, but yeah, the fundamentals are there. Now, this is from Sharon.
This is the lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent her an email too, but she never answered me.
Well, she's probably busy, but in a nutshell, we'll talk about what she basically said was that her husband got talked into car hauling.
Yep.
And I'm sure he was interested,
Yeah.
But maybe it was kind of like a YouTube video, money, 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 all this stuff. Well, and I guess the person that kind of talked him into it also was doing his dispatching, but the dispatching didn't make sense. He's going 200 miles, picking up 100 miles. Sometimes who the payment's made out to is different. There's problems. There's something wrong here. And
the way I'm understanding it is he's kind of working underneath them, so they're the ones paying him. They're getting the loads. That's the way I was reading it.
Right, so that's the thing.
We've had this happen before where they didn't get the full payment and stuff like that.
It could be on its face legitimate, but to her it seems it's either somewhat fraudulent or it doesn't pay enough.
Well, I can tell you, running what they're talking about doesn't make any sense to me.
No,
It
it
sounds like,
doesn't. He's driving all over the place.
yeah, it sounds like he's getting the crap loads that are left
He's getting
over.
that. That's there. You go. There's an apology.
That's what it
That's
sounds
probably
like.
what it is. That makes
Yeah,
sense. This craft's been booked. Here, you move it. Yeah, no, it's terrible. And she's literally looking at a map
yeah,
and thinking this can't be right. So I told her, I'm usually delayed in getting back to people, but that email got my attention. So I messaged her back within an hour or two, and I said, you know, click here, watch my training series. Here's the worksheets, and keep staring at the map. You're not wrong. So I hopefully Sharon is tuning in today. Let's see here. Oh, and there it is. Yeah, and log into your husband's Central Dispatch account, which that's an assumption.
yeah.
But I mean, he probably has Central Dispatch. And I think that'd be the one assumption that's safe. Okay, Central Dispatch changed how we look up the company and access their packets, and then they made another change. Sue, what's going on here?
Okay, so I don't know if anybody noticed, but for the last couple of weeks, you cannot access the packets. All of a sudden today, you're able to get back on there, kind of. So let me share the screen. Let me get to a page here, and then I'll share my screen.
Let's see here. Now, screen share. Where did they put that? They changed. Zoom changed the. Where did they put that? Let's see here. Check. Okay. Where did Zoom put the screen share? Oh, host tools. There we go. Host tools. Tools, oh, host. Okay, it's all yours.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, so I don't want to use that. So I'm just going to use one of my guys here. Okay, so when you used to be able to pull this all up, remember it's all on one page. All the ratings, everything, and then they'd change stuff, you'd click back and you would look at all their stuff. This up until today, because that's the first time I was able to access stuff, you could not see any of this, like their document packet or anything. And in fact, when we looked at the document packet the other day, or earlier this morning, it wasn't letting us in, but now it is. So that's fixed too. So the way it used to look is totally different. I don't know if everybody can see this, and they probably realize it. Now to look at the ratings, you go up here to the top. It says all ratings. And that way you
Show us
can
again.
see
Where did it say all ratings?
right up here at the
Oh,
top.
okay. Up at the top there.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
But so if they'd haul for you before, normally before it had all ratings right here, and then to your right showed where you had rated them. That's no longer there. So where you find that at now, though, is you go back to the overview and you go down here. Okay. This is where your connection is. That's what they call it. If they've hauled for you or anything like that, that's where you're going to find the ratings.
Okay.
So it's totally different. And I don't know if they told anybody they were doing this. I don't know if it was on the front, like when people were entering in. I don't think so. Everything I keep saying is about fraud. But it is kind of confusing. So it is stuff you guys need to look for. And that's why I was complaining. We were talking about it because it wasn't even on there anymore. I couldn't access anybody's document packet at all. Like there was nothing here that said any of this stuff on here. So that all got changed over the last day or two.
It's interesting. Okay, so I had a feeling that they were updating the way it was going to be presented, but
Right.
your initial concern sounded like they were, it was gone, and I was hoping that it would return updated, which it did. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's different. It's not what
Are
it
you
was,
able to
but
get the information you could get before? Is it
now I
better?
can. Now you
Okay.
can. I mean, it's the same. It's just
It's
they've
the
moved
same.
it around into a different section and a different page. Where it was like only 2 pages, it looks like it's more than that now. But you just have to look up here along this top thing. That's where all your information is going to be at now. But like I said, the overview is going to be where you're going to find if they've hauled for you before and how you've rated them. It's all down here. I'm not sure why they probably didn't have enough room. What do you think on this page to
Well,
put it
so
here?
so here's a question. What's your opinion? I know you're new to it. Usually when we're new to something, we don't prefer it, but what do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's bad. I just think I wish they had told people what they were doing, what to look for. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, the reason why I sent you that email yesterday was because I was really upset because you can't access anything. And then we go in today and it's on there. So I don't know.
Okay.
It'd been like that for a couple weeks. I don't know when they switched this. We just noticed it this morning that it was where we could access it now. So I'm not
So,
sure.
well, I'll tell you what. Sorry, I'm gonna take the screen back here. Let's see. So, okay, stop share. So we're gonna go. We're gonna bring in Kaylee here in a minute. Um, I'll just say this is that. So Sue, I don't know if I told you this, but Central Dispatch is gonna do a show on
Whoa.
ATI next month.
Really?
Yeah,
Is this about the so many $1 million thing? Or no?
I guess so.
Sweet.
I know.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it is. It is. It's really cool. Well, there's a lot happening, and I've told everybody. I'm blue in the face. I've said, come on ATI and tell us your updates. I actually had a company tell me we can't because not everything we have to say is favorable about the marketplace. I'm like, wow. I don't know exactly what's going on out there. I know that many tech companies are fighting for the same shippers and business and whatnot.
Right.
And there's
Right.
also a lot of personnel changes out there. There's a lot of acquisitions, and I don't know what's going on, but it is I'm going to say it's an aggressive marketplace and a suspicious marketplace. And so I'm excited that Central Dispatch is going to come on ATI and talk about what they're doing, their updates. And actually, we've got a couple guests next month we've never had on before. So it's going to be awesome. So here's what I want to do is keep 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 giving feedback about what you think, what your questions are. I can actually help bring this information to them and in a meaningful way, which is actually, it's been a rocky ride, but this channel was created to help. That is actually what I'm trying to do. I don't ship cars, I move information. I am here to help. Leverage ATI. Let ATI help you. Do me a favor, stick around. After this, we're going to have Kaylee Felio, the parts girl, up in here. You don't want to miss it. Stick around.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
That's Murphy Auto Transport Services. She's a fully licensed broker. She runs a dispatch office. She's my co-host on Thursdays, and she's here. So if you have a question for Murphy Auto Transport Services, if you're a dispatcher, if you're a carrier, if you're a broker, if you're a shipper, contact Sue and ask her your questions. Okay, here we go. Do me a favor. Help me wish a very warm welcome to first time on ATI, Kaylee Felio, the parts girl. Kaylee, can you see us and hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
All
Hopefully,
right. Okay, that's a good start.
yeah.
All right, so here's how I like to start. Oh, by the way, this is Sue. Kaylee
Hi,
meets
Kaylee.
Sue. Kaylee. All right. And I like that we haven't really, there's almost no prep here.
Right.
No.
But that's awesome. That's great because that's how real conversations are. And I like to think of segments on ATI as random conversations in the hallways at trade shows. Right? Right? You've been there. And it's fun. It's cool. You're like, wow, I'm meeting somebody, I'm talking shop. That's what we're going to do. So before we go any further, do me a favor. Say hello and tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you for having me. We're live, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? We are. We're live. Yeah.
And so yeah, I haven't done too many lives, so this is very exciting. I have all the nerves, so it's fun. It's almost like speaking in front of people, but you can't see them. So
Right.
yeah, so
Makes it easier.
a little bit about me. I've been in the auto industry about 10 years now, and really just working for PartsEdge pretty much the whole time. Actually, yeah, the whole time. And yeah, I've been in the industry for a while now, and I'm also a mom. I have two children. One just turned 5, and then I also have an 8-month-old. So I'm doing that life balance stuff going on right now. So I'm praying that he stays asleep during this live too, by the way, because I don't have a baby here today.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been there. Yeah, keep going. That's awesome. Keep going. This
Yeah.
is great.
I mean, I don't know what else to share. I do
okay.
the sales and marketing with for PartsEdge, so I'm involved in a lot of things when it comes to growing and just sharing what we do. And me as a human, I just enjoy being with my family, going outdoors, off-roading, yeah, doing all the fun things that Arizona has to offer.
Awesome. And you said me as a human. See, I talk like that too. Right?
Yeah.
We are human beings. All right. 10 years, PartsEdge, mom, life balance, son may wake up. Been there too.
Yep.
So sales and marketing. Okay, let's start with, so what is FixedOps? For anybody that doesn't know what it is, in a nutshell, what is it?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because I think people that aren't in the industry, if you say fixed ops, they're like, what are you talking about? And really it's just the parts and service department at the dealership. So we call it the fixed operations because it's the operation or department that fixes your vehicle. It's just like going to a car shop, or an aftermarket shop. But basically, a fixed ops is, I think I explained it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So having said that, why is there so much attention to fixed ops service? I'll tell you this. Let me say it like this. Let's turn it around. When I started dispatching, it seemed like, oh, okay, so you dispatch. And what I learned was, oh my God, this is a cornucopia of craziness. So that's why I made a whole channel out of it.
Yeah.
It seems like fixed ops has something like that. Like there's a lot more than meets the eye. Is that right?
I mean,
no? Maybe it's easy.
I don't know. I would think because I'm in it that I'm like, I know what it is. So I don't think like people don't know. But,
well,
yeah.
I've seen, okay, here's one. I saw an image where a car parts, what is it? A car parts manager at a dealership has everybody screaming at him.
Oh, I shared that one.
That's what I thought. Okay, why? Why is everybody screaming at him?
Well, so the parts department is really the central and core of the fixed operations and really the dealership because sales comes to them too. And I wanted to paint that picture because their day is they're just pulled in so many different directions. They're putting out fires, they're just all over the place as far as, sales is coming to them about recon. Service is coming to them about ordering parts or are the parts here yet for the people that are coming in. Techs are saying, hey, I need these parts. They're just pulled in so many directions. And I don't think that maybe the regular consumer realizes that the parts don't just magically show up. There's someone there that's analyzing data, tracking things to make sure the parts are there for their market and their demand.
See, that sounds like dispatching. I mean,
I can imagine, yeah.
that's what, yeah. In car hauling, people assume the cars just, yeah, you just go pick them up. Well, how did that happen? Right? And that's logistics, and that's this show. This show is industry logistics, and I knew there was something. And in fact, that image, good image, because that said something strong to me. You know, I connected with that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. So tell us about your podcast.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, tell us about your podcast. So you have the Parts Girl podcast.
I do.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So, that's been a fun thing. It's been about 2 years. I can't believe that. And I'm actually working, I don't have it all figured out yet, but I'm working on kind of a rebrand and a separation, because what I found with the podcast, okay, let's back up. When I started the Parts Girl, I started getting active on LinkedIn, because it was during COVID, and we were kind of like, it was this weird thing where in sales, it's like, I didn't know how to reach out to people, because it's like, we didn't know what was going on. So I started going on LinkedIn, and I saw people in my industry posting and talking about things. And so that's when I was like, you know what, I'm going to share what I'm going through. I just had my daughter in 2019, and what I'm going through now, I was going through then with the 8-month-old now. But I just realized, we were talking about fixed ops, and we were just talking about service. We weren't talking about parts. So I wanted people to come to me and think of me when they thought about parts, because I wanted to be that. If I didn't have a solution, I wanted to be able to help them with a solution or direct them in some way, because that's all I've ever known in this industry is parts. I've only worked for PartsEdge. So that's where the Parts Girl started. And then people started doing podcasts, and I started going on podcasts. So I'm like, you know what? I want to have a podcast too. I want to talk about parts. Well, the conversations definitely aren't all about parts. It was like, we were talking about life, challenges, all the things so I'm starting to think about kind of breaking off and talking about like all the parts of life, and then also having a separate podcast that's strictly about parts, that parts managers can come to and just learn best practices, things that, they're going through. So that's a long answer to your question.
I love it, actually. I love it because I love media, all right? So I will tell you something that you don't know about me, and that is that my story of media goes back 30 plus years. I made a short film in college in the 90s. That's how long I've been making media. So when you talk about podcasts, I kind of watch and see, and what you just said doesn't surprise me at all, because media in itself, the creation of media, is a journey. And it will change. If it doesn't change, actually something's wrong.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice to know. Because
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm doing it wrong. I'm at this point where I'm like, I think I need to like separate these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you will. So what'll happen in the journey of media, and this is where I'm always super impressed by like a mega hit like Game of Thrones. Okay. The work that went into that happening is monumental. It can't even, you can't wrap your arms around it.
No, I actually watched that one.
That is a crazy awesome show. I haven't seen The Sopranos, but again, that's another one. And Breaking Bad. So this is kind of my jam. Yeah. That's what I'm into.
Yeah.
And what I do is then I try to take that love and make this automotive industry education show. But it started with dispatching. This started as a dispatching channel. Mm-hmm. And I realized, and I kind of knew I'm on a journey, and you start where, I love it where you started with COVID. That was a great time for new ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And in fact, I wanted to ask you about like mobile service, right? Wasn't mobile service technicians, and that was like a big deal in like 2020, 2021?
Yeah,
do
people
COVID. Still talk about that much now?
Absolutely. There are dealerships that have grown that. I would say it's a separate department of the dealership, because it's like an operation you have to manage differently. And there's been some very successful dealerships that have really basically met their consumers where they want to be met and taken, not advantage, that's not the right word, but like, you know, taken that opportunity to really just expand and
Opportunity.
grow.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the right word.
where there's a need, there's an opportunity. Hey,
Yeah.
let's do this. While we're still here, camera one, we're going to bring in, we have Allie Peters. She's going to join us now. Please do help us all wish a warm welcome to Allie Peters, first time on ATI. Kaylee, you brought in Allie today, is that right?
I did, yes.
You want to introduce her?
Yeah. I can't see her though.
She's joining now. And action.
Hey guys,
All right.
how are
Allie.
y'all?
Hi, Allie. Thanks for
Hey.
coming.
Thanks for having me. Always
Yes.
like doing stuff with Kaylee.
Wow.
So she is one of my favorite people in the industry. I've seen her grow. I've interviewed her so many times on my podcast, and I think we met at NADA for the first time, but we knew each other from being online first. So yeah. So Allie is VP of Service for the Cavender Auto Group out there in Texas. Allie, so
Yes,
thanks for
that's
coming.
me. Hi, thank you
Great to
guys.
see you. Yeah, thanks so much. All right, please continue that. So, yeah, tell us more, Allie.
Okay, well, thank you again for having me. Like Kaylee said, I am in San Antonio. I'm the Vice President of Service Operations for Cavender Auto Group, and just have had such a blast. I just celebrated 1 year in this role. It was July 5th, so you know, what's an anniversary without having CDK and internet and all the things you need to do your job. But we got through it. We're getting through it, and I work with 8 service departments in our group and have an incredible leadership team, and just every day's a new day, but so much fun. It's very corny and it's very cheesy, but I feel like I was made for this job. So I'm very
Awesome.
glad to be here. Yeah.
That means it's so good. It's a thriving workplace. Lots of people, lots of parts, lots of logistics.
All of it. Yes.
Right. Every day is a long, busy day.
And
It
it's
sounds
never the
just like
same day.
dispatching, and it's never the same, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We're never bored.
So, all right, so we've got you here, and what for? Like, we don't, you know, we'll tell you something. That what we'll do is we'll trade stories. We'll tell you something about dispatching after you tell us something about FixedOps. What is something we just wouldn't know? Kaylee,
I mean-
Allie, you guys got this.
Excuse me, sorry. I was going to say, well, let me find something appropriate to say out loud. To
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds a lot like dispatching. So we got to figure out what's appropriate.
Well,
Or-
frankly,
yeah.
I was going to say, I think the thing about FixedOps, and I was listening in before I joined, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think it's both very black and white, while also being extremely complex and not really realizing how many layers impact each other in the realm of FixedOps. So I think it's both super easy at the basics, but then the reality of implementing, it's more of very easy tasks thrown up in the air and juggling 1,000 balls at one time. So each ball is a very easy task, but managing to keep them all up, I think, is where the complexity becomes.
All right, I think I've got a handle on a question then, and that is that I'm going to guess there's a lot of inventory management, need to restock, and predictive analytics of what's coming.
Yes,
How'd I do?
you did great.
Right?
When you need help, talk to Kaylee. 'Cause she's
Okay.
got-
And it must, I mean, we're talking about a lot of different parts
Absolutely.
for a lot of different reasons. Then there's surprises.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of software is used to manage? We can tell you about our software.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We
Well, so
have
I'm gonna plug and pitch Kaylee because we have basic software, right? We have CDK, like I mentioned, which is in your data management system. All of your customer information is in there, all of your invoicing, all of really just that. If you had that and only that, you could do the job. Then there are layers and layers on top, right? So, and I'll briefly speak to it, and then hand it over to Kaylee. But Many of the manufacturers offer programs called RIM, which is going to be an automatic restocking. And so based on what you've got, based on what you sell, how often you sell, it'll recommend parts. And then you add in Kaylee, and we're actually just starting to get to work together on the business side of things, which is so exciting at one of our stores, and ideally going to roll that out to everyone after we get this pilot. But in addition, on top of that, is really like microscopically getting into all of the moving parts and managing that on the back end so that we can use our brains and our bodies out in the front with the people that we need to be working with, while Kaylee and her team work on the actual inventory in the back.
I always love hearing other people, describe, because I'm always like, I want to hear what you think or how your perception of what we do. And it's always so exciting to hear that.
Good. Yes.
So, and tell us, so what is PartsEdge? Because we don't know that either.
Yeah. Well, for people that aren't in the industry, the best thing to like what we do is if you ever wondered how a dealership has all the right parts when they need them, that's basically what PartsEdge is. It's a smarter way to look at data and reporting, and it's a set of tools just to really help the manager make better decisions, really. But if you've ever gone to a dealership and they didn't have your part, they probably didn't have PartsEdge.
Right.
But realistically, there has been a massive back order issues at industry wide and just strikes going on. So consumers also need to take that into consideration too. Like, there's those aspects of it too. And there's thousands of millions of parts.
Was that a spike at COVID as well? The parts? Yeah. Because this gets into shipping, right?
Yes.
The parts are still in the ocean.
Exactly.
Hopefully
Stuck
above
in a
water.
boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That was a struggle, because when COVID hit, I was at a BMW dealership. And then the next year, at the end of 2021, I moved to Jaguar Land Rover dealership. And so all of our parts were coming from across the pond. And so we really did, not only did we have just regular logistical scenarios that we had to cross, but when COVID happened, everything changed, really. And I think that it does sound very in parallel with the dispatching world in certain areas, because the reality is, in FixedOps, you have the service department, which is going to be your technicians, and what you're selling is their time and the labor aspect of that. So I would assume that would be similar to like a driver that you have. Then you have the actual product and inventory. So the tech's inventory is their time. Then you have the parts inventory, which is the actual physical parts. And then one thing that we do forget often it's technically like a pizza pie as your FixedOps department, is you have a third, which is collision. So it does the same thing as fixing a mechanical repair. It's just now fixing a collision repair. And so, but all of the same aspects go into it. Is how do you schedule, and how do you have the right people and the right parts to get the job done as quickly as you can?
Absolutely. And the other piece too, dealerships acquire cars. So they also have to, there's the recon process of, getting them ready to sell them as well.
So thank you, because I was going to ask, is reconditioning considered part of FixedOps? It is.
Yeah.
Repair, maintenance, reconditioning, all of it.
Absolutely.
So if it touches the shop, it's part
of
FixedOps.
us.
Whoa,
right.
whoa.
So see there, right? You're peeling the onion, the layers back.
And I mean, I'm telling you, through the years of doing this show, is how I've learned more about, because this is, when you look at automotive, man, there's so much to it. And we don't even know I guess we're wondering, how much do you know about auto transport?
Very little.
Very little.
Well, very little on the medium side of little.
Yeah.
I mean, because we do, obviously, we're partners with getting cars to where people need them both ways, right? And the idea of not just sales, getting cars brought from the factory, but we're picking up cars, we're transporting cars, we sell them at auction. There's a lot of logistical there. And then I know you guys had talked about mobile earlier, but we also talked about pickup and delivery. We do, at the Jag Land Rover store, we were doing business with people who were 8 hours away because we were the second closest to them and they preferred doing business with us. So we would pick up their car and some version of a transport unit would bring it down to us and then we'd get it back. So you add in, like I said, the basics on paper are very easy, but then when you start to think about all the pieces involved.
Yeah.
But that's about as much as I've got. So the floor is yours.
Yeah.
So
What
I'll,
she said.
I'll ask the question. That's awesome. I'll ask the question. So then, I mean, this gets into, I'm not trying to get into confidential information, but does Cavender list their cars?
Mhm.
How, right?
Mhm.
Cavender lists cars on Central?
So, well, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I can find out. But I will say one of the things that we have as far as, so we're building a new Ford dealership right now. We'll be moving in a month. It's gonna be one of the biggest in the state. So really, really, really looking forward to that. But that's one of our, and I think it's going backwards, but it's while we build, we deliver. So the idea of we're in this kind of like barn-like facility right now as our dealership. And so the idea is don't come to this little podunky parking lot. Let's do everything virtually, electronically, and we'll deliver out to you wherever that is. And we've sent cars, and we have some different versions of it, but I don't know the answer on the Central.
No, that's cool, but
I'm
this
sorry.
it's cool that we're talking. I mean,
Mhm.
this is where we know that auto transport touches the dealership, which has other departments. And then you said auction, right? Yes, because the dealership is acquiring vehicles that are purchased from the auction that need to be reconditioned, and that involves transportation too. So it's fascinating. It all touches. I wanted to ask this about the techs. Techs are using iPads and software, I'm assuming, right, to do their write-ups and their processing. Then does that interact with restocking inventory? Tell me more about that, because it's interesting.
Yeah, so on the front end, as far as the service side it goes, we have tablets on the drive. So the service advisors are checking in customers on the service drive with tablets. They're putting any type of preventative maintenance, checking history with them, anything that the customer is coming in for as primary concerns, and putting those notes into the repair order. At that point, it's pushed through the software system where a technician will ultimately get dispatched. And every store is a little bit different. So some it'll be an electronic dispatch, just the next guy that's up who's capable. Some will be a physical dispatch where there's a person who is a team leader or a central dispatcher or even an advisor says, all right, Sue, you're up next and you're the one who can do this. This is yours. They then go in. We either use like iPads or tablets, or what's even nicer too now is most of the software is compatible with your cell phone. So instead of having to add any additional resources, you're already on your phone, so you're just going to take the video that way, and then you can actually just do your inspection from there. Then it pushes to parts, and parts is then going to finalize that estimate. So the tech's going to tell you how long everything's going to take, what they saw, what they need. Parts then bills the estimate. If it gets approved, then at that point they sell it to us, and then it tells the system, hey, we just sold this one and we're getting to the point where we need to restock.
That's the logistics stuff I wanted to talk about. And then maybe on the front end, now it seems that AI is being added, so a customer can call in, text maybe, communicate with AI that instigates the beginning of this process.
Yes, we're in look, I'll say this, I think in general, and Kaylee can speak to this, in the few years that we've known each other, I'm kind of an out there wild brainstorm, throw everything out at the wall and see it stick. So I'm very visionary in that sense, kind of want to be pioneering. But AI, for some reason, I've been a very slow adopter or adapter to that, because I don't want our customers to get frustrated by talking to a robot. And so I'm just now leaning into this idea of how can we help use the tools that are out there to supplement, very similar like PartsEdge. How do we get the people that we employ to be able to use the people skills that we have to take care of people, instead of sitting and doing something that could potentially be data entry or just collecting information that could be AI, and then we scoop in at the time we need to scoop in.
So I want to say this is what I believe in AI. I like the whole thing, the AI. It's convenience. It's not about putting robots in charge. It's about convenience. And I want to say this to all AI companies, is that there should be a button or whatever, a prompt, that at any moment that I want a human being, I can have a human being. Huh? Okay?
Yeah.
That should be the deal.
And with AI, what I've learned is they're not all treated equally. Like,
Right.
sometimes it's almost like you have one bad experience and you're completely like, I don't like AI.
Yes.
It's like you have to figure out, I think you have to go take a step back and look at your process and where you need to, have AI be introduced into that process. So you have to like go to the basics first.
Mhm.
You're right, it's a tool. It's not to replace anything. It's to make things go faster and make it more of a tool.
Yep.
I have been doing some AI segments on the channel. Speaking of, I haven't let Sue talk at all, so she's going to talk after I say this.
Okay.
And that is that AI, the more I've learned, the more I realize that's exactly right. AI is a tool.
Mhm.
Just like there's tools in the toolbox, we have vacuum cleaners,
Yeah.
we have different tools that have helped us.
Yeah.
AI
The
is meant to
difference-
be a tool.
I just had a thought. It's a tool, but it's also a tool that you have to give it the information to learn. Like
Mhm.
it's going to be as good as you
Make
using it and it like continue. It learns.
Right.
That's the difference between a vacuum. Like a vacuum's not gonna.
Learn.
Well,
You
there
don't
are-
just
there are
you
those
don't point it
vacuums
at the
that-
room and it just starts doing.
Yeah. Well, there are those one vacuums that
There
are
are
The
robots.
Roombas.
Yeah, the
I was
Zumbas.
gonna
Yeah.
say the
Yeah.
Zumba.
Yep.
Well,
But
the
you still have to
Zumba-
train them too.
Do
Yeah.
you? I don't even
You
know
do.
anything
Yeah.
about
You
You
have to
do.
give them like a map of the
Yep.
room, but they can go in and
on your phone. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
One day I'll get one of those.
they're not great. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
I saw it.
Yeah, we had one and we're back to the old
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's great for in between, but if you have dogs, don't do it.
I have a dog. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard bad things about that.
Sue, do you have anything to ask or add or anything? I mean, did you learn something about
Oh, I
FixedOps?
did. Yeah, I knew nothing about any of that stuff, so it was fascinating. I
Oh
liked
man, and we just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we
it.
did.
There's-
I'm sure.
We could talk for days.
You have a question for us about dispatching or auto transport?
I mean, I guess my question is, how did you find it, or how did you find that you actually were passionate about it?
That's a good question.
Sue.
Well, I have a funny story because, okay, so I've been raised by a family of entrepreneurs, so we've always owned our own businesses and stuff like that. And my parents owned a bar restaurant in our little tiny town of Theodosia, and there was a guy there that was friends with my parents. There was a bar patronage. I mean, came in and drank all the time. Anyways, I had just had my son, maybe 3 months, if that, and he came up to me and he said, "All right, Sue, we're going to start a business. I'm going to go haul cars, and you're going to figure it out." And that's how it just started. And that was 20 years ago.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah. So I figured it out.
that's awesome.
So mine is that I just needed, like a part-time gig. I was working I was an SEO writer at this company, and it fell through, how things go, and because Google was making a lot of changes. It seems like over time I've continued to learn more about tech. My journey in tech really started probably 20 years ago when MPEG 1 and MPEG 2, that's way before MPEG 4 and MP3, and anyways, and go on and on. And I also taught myself HTML. So when I learned about this car hauling dispatch thing, basically you're looking at websites of cars. And when I say websites of cars, it's really Central Dispatch. You've heard of Central Dispatch?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Everybody's heard of Central Dispatch. This is I call it the number one load board. It's where everybody knows that if you're looking to fill holes on your truck, and we're talking about how many carriers on the road right now, Sue, looking for loads? Tens of thousands?
Yeah. Yeah, if we're talking freight and cars, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Right.
that's-
Freight. That's right. Cars is 10% the size of the freight industry.
Mhm.
And we don't really pay attention to trucks on the road, I also noticed. Like,
Not unless you
Yeah.
do what we do.
you don't.
I notice
Knight,
everything.
Swift, whatever.
I noticed them because the where I live, I think is a really well trafficked route.
Hotspot. Where do you
Yeah.
live?
I live in Arizona, so I think the 40 and like the
Yes.
8, that's
Yep.
all. Yeah.
Exactly.
And in fact, are you near Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Phoenix is a hub of auto logistics
Yeah.
companies.
In fact, I just listed one out of there.
There you go.
So,
So, and I'm in Kansas City, which is also kind of a hub in a sense. And then in San Antonio, that is what I know of Texas is, I mean, a lot of cars move in and out.
yep.
Yeah.
And San Antonio is a good city as a dispatcher to get loads, deliver loads.
I can see
Dallas and Houston can be more competitive, and competitive means lower pay. So San Antonio is a place where I've sent drivers many times to pick up and deliver loads.
And traffic's not as crazy as it is up in
Exactly,
Dallas.
that's another consideration, right? If you go to Atlanta, Chicago, LA, you know, but San Antonio.
One thing I learned too about that industry, speaking to, I don't know if they're called dealerships, but they're like the places that service those vehicles.
Yeah.
The perspective, or it's a lot different because it's their business that they use that vehicle for their business. Where when most of the time when you're servicing your vehicle at a dealership, it's just, you know, to get around. I mean, nowadays you still have Uber and some people are pick up and delivery of those things, but like I think it's a little different. The mindset is like this is my livelihood. This is my
Absolutely. And that's something that when I moved into this role last year, our Ford store was actually, it was a truck center. So it wasn't in the retail space. It was all fleet. And so I have picked up on that. It's not even really about the price at all. It's the value of getting their car back. So if they could drop it off at 4:00 in the afternoon when the shift is over and pick it up the next day at 7 to start their shift, it's the dollar doesn't truly matter. I mean, obviously we're going to be respectful and we're going to charge fair market value for the repair, but you're exactly right that, I mean, some people, that is a day lost of income if we can't get them their car back in a timely manner.
Right.
Absolutely. Wow, this was really great. I hate to keep you any longer because I know that you're both really busy. Kaylee, looks like we got lucky. He didn't wake up yet. Is he still asleep?
I'm so lucky. He's such a good sleeper.
That's so good.
I'm like, wow. Like the first one, I was screwed, but he's been great.
Okay, we'll get his payback. There's always a balance. Allie, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really interesting, insightful, and now you now have a connection into auto transport. If you have a question, if you have a problem, you have an idea, suggestion, or if you're looking for a good carrier or you need something moved and you're in a pinch. Murphy Auto Transport, there's her email, murphyauto31@yahoo.com. And you can call Sue at 417-273-0021.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All
right, cool. I'm going to make a couple video shorts out of this.
Okay.
And so look for that. And again, thank you so much. Here's another applause. Thank you very much.
Thank
you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, see you later. I'll put you back in the waiting room and we'll end the show.
That's good.
Thank you so much. Oh man, that was cool.
Yeah, that was.
I know. So we worked pretty hard to get the timing right. I know that we had her scheduled once before, and it's tough. Scheduling is tough, especially when you have an 8-month-old.
Yeah,
that's really tough.
I know. So we were talking about that. I had my kid sitting on my lap breastfeeding the whole time I was doing this when I first started.
Wow! That's crazy.
Yep.
So I had, when my kids were little, I actually had a different show at that time. It was called Streaming Media Dojo. I remember very well trying to make recordings. And I couldn't.
No.
You know me, I'm a talker. So, so it's really interesting. And also meeting Allie at Cavender Auto Group. I really do want to have more shows with like dealer guests.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll keep working towards that. Auctions and dealers. And then
I think it
OEM.
helps provide insight behind the back workings of a dealership for a transporter. So they know that it's not just, because I know sometimes when they go into some of these dealerships, they get treated pretty badly.
I know they do.
And not all of them are like that. You can see that. Allie's super nice. And,
well, you know what? It's just a matter of communication.
There is that. And then some people
There's
sometimes
other
have a
stuff,
bad
too.
day.
Well, and there's other
It's
stuff,
just the way it
too.
goes.
Yeah, well, that's right. And then some. If you go anywhere with a chip on your shoulder,
There you go.
you get what you asked for.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. True.
I had other stuff in the mailbag, but I think that we're at a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else to add about, I don't know, anything?
No, I don't think so.
Anything else pressing? I also know that, we had, hey DDD, and thank you, James. Thank you so much. James is our raving new fan.
Cool.
On ATI. It's really neat. And I'll end with this. The journey. She was talking about the journey. Everything is a journey. And I think sometimes when things aren't a journey, we start to feel a little stuck.
Yeah.
So, journey is good. Rocky ride, maybe not the idea of a journey, but life is a journey. It's not a plateau. And when it is, you start to wonder what's happening. So, I like that she's, thinking about. I like that she's thinking about what am I doing with my podcast? What is it? What do we do? And there is a lot to parts. I guess what I'd like to figure out is how can. Well, I was working with Rapid Recon for a little bit,
Right.
And Rapid Recon is also a software system for managing your reconditioning process. Because here's a tidbit. When a vehicle is, I'll ask you this. Do you know what reconditioning is?
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Okay.
Getting the car ready for sale. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So and I'll just, then Captain Obvious, here I go. When a dealership buys a vehicle from an auction, it's not ready for sale right away.
Right.
They got to bring it back to the dealership, recondition it, get it ready for sale. Get it front row ready. And when they're waiting on the transporter, they're losing time.
Right.
They're not only losing time getting that vehicle ready for sale, they're losing time on taking a look at the vehicle during their arbitration period from the auction. Does the auto transporter worry about this?
No.
No.
I don't even think they understand that.
And I don't even think they're interested. I don't think most are interested in hearing that.
No.
But I think that's also a symptom of it's such a struggle just day to day getting good loads, which brings us back to Sharon. Let's end with that. What would you say? What's your advice for Sharon?
Well, definitely, if she's going to be his dispatcher, start learning. I mean, that's a huge thing. Start signing him up for whoever you can sign up. As we've all talked about, it's a very short list right now. You're going to be struggling getting decent paying loads in the very beginning. I would say at least the first 6 months, it's going to be rough. And you're going to have to work with some brokers and some people that you probably wouldn't normally want to.
Going to say is that's what it is. That's how you're going to survive, isn't it?
Yeah.
That first 6 months.
Yeah.
You need to haul for anybody, and you're going to be dealing with some.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
And I would definitely, I'm going to say this. I would probably recommend getting a factoring company too, just because you may have to take loads from people that are 30-day pays because you can't do anything else but that. And unless you can sit there and wait on that money, I've noticed there's quite a few of those out there. Now, also in the same respect, if you're going to go work for a company that's got 30-day pays, make sure you look them up, make sure they're legit. They've been in business for a while. Those are the ones that are going to get you if they're not a legit company and they're a fake broker out there, or whatever you want to call this that's happening right now. That's the ones that are going to get you. Anytime they're 30 days and they're not established, those are going to be the ones that are going to end up going out of business and all this other crap, especially if they're new. So watch for that.
Do you think that like Howard and JD Factors can help? Or
that's who I would recommend. There's other factoring companies out there, but as we all know, not all businesses are created equally. And I know there's some of them out there, and I don't know which ones are which, but I know there's some of them out there that require you to factor everything you do, and not everybody is willing to do that because you're not.
And I don't like that.
No.
Are,
But that's how they're getting people now. That's how they're getting them, to make sure they get enough money from them. They're making them give everything to them.
And I understand that as well.
Yeah. Yep.
But, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that part either.
I don't like that.
My guy has a rule. If it's 5 days or less, don't factor it.
Right.
And so everything else gets factored, and I don't have any problems over there.
That is able to be done with some factoring companies.
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right.
Now, I don't know about all of them. I just know that JD Factors does.
So JD Factors will do.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I know there's one out there that does not.
Honestly, that's the kind of, the advertising is, man, this is a tough world.
Yeah.
But I want to promote companies that I believe in.
Right.
And what you just told me sounds pretty good. That matches what I am looking for.
Yeah.
Because this all or nothing. That's like, they'd be like, well, if you use AI, you have to always use AI.
Right.
No, I want people sometimes. Come on, man.
Right, exactly.
So, all right. So you don't have to factor everything. If it's 5 days or less, you can just you don't have to factor that.
Right.
Well, that sounds like that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you need money. Why do you need money so quickly in your first 6 months?
I mean, your gas is so expensive. If you have any kind of repair, just living. I mean, this business is a tough one. You can't expect to walk out and make $1 million like YouTube tries to tell everybody as they roll around in their cash. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's an industry where you have to earn everything as you're going through this. You have to make sure you do the right thing. You have to make sure you don't damage vehicles. You have to make sure that you talk to the people, communication, everything. Those all factor into whether somebody's going to use you again and whether they're going to give you a good rating or give you a bad rating. I mean, there's constantly on here. I'll tell you the number one thing I see on the ratings is no communication. Canceled load, that kind of stuff. And that happens on a regular. I don't think everybody understands how important it is to talk to people about canceling a load. And once you start getting negatives, man, and you're brand new, you might as well just forget it. It's really hard. Once you have, and the new rating system's so hard anyways, right? So you start getting a negative and you only have 1 or 2 good ratings, you're down at 40% usually by then, and to gain that back up is almost impossible. So your first 6 months are very delicate is the way I would put it. You've got to make sure you do everything you're supposed to, cross your T's, dot your I's, kind of thing.
Boom. Nice. That's a video short. All right, good job. That was awesome. All right, well, perfect way to end the show. Let's see, next week. I've got, I'm going to take a little time off.
Right, vacation.
So no show on the 25th. No show on the 1st. But we're going to be back next week. Next week is the 18th. And let's see if do we have something? All right. So, all right, let's top 20 load boards.
Yeah, next week.
What number do we have?
We only have 18, I believe, is where we're at. And I've been trying. I cannot come up with it.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean,
I've asked all my girls. I keep scrolling.
So that's awesome. Oh my God.
If anybody wants to give us some recommendations.
Jay demands top 20. No, let's do top 18 load boards.
Okay.
And here's what I want to do. We're going to rank them in order. Again, because it's always a weird process to do that.
Yeah,
we're going to rank them, which means we're going to look at them. We're going to look at number of loads.
Okay.
We're going to document number of loads.
Okay.
Not that that's the only signifier, but that's what carriers are looking for. How many loads are available. Okay.
Right.
I also want to know how long does a new carrier need to wait to get signed up? Because it's the new carriers, and you just hit upon it. New carriers and dispatching fundamentals, that's what people want to know more about regularly on this channel. So we're going to try to focus on that.
Yeah.
New carriers and dispatching fundamentals.
Unfortunately,
those are the top 2 requests coming in. And so, we're here to help. Yeah. All right, so we'll work on that. All right, next week, top 18 load boards. All right.
Unless you give us 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm assuming another load board or 2 will come out of the woodwork.
Probably.
And the thing is, I don't even know if reindeer's not on there. That's number 19. Even if you post on other load boards, because
You have your own
here's
load.
the deal.
Okay, Reindeer has their own load board. They really do.
Well, they did.
I mean, I don't access
I've
it. I don't
seen
know how
it.
to access
I
it.
have seen the chupacabra,
Yeah. True. True.
but I think they do.
Yeah.
But I need to ask them too. And then when I come back, the first show in August, on August 8th, we've got Be Lean Fitness. Brandon with Be Lean Fitness is helping truckers stay fit.
Okay.
And as you know, fitness is one of those things that we all think about. We don't really want to talk about. But, just like an accountant and a lawyer and a doctor and a dentist and a preacher and a fitness coach, you need this team of people. Really, Jay? Yeah, really. Okay. All right. Cat's out of the bag. All right, so I will see you next week.
Okay.
And I think we've already got top 15. Help me fill in those wait times and stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Help me
Yeah,
do that.
I've been working on that this week, so.
And I still want to hear from some of those other groups. I know that it's hard to get people to reply, but we'll do the best we can. Oh, Highway iDispatch Hub. By the way, do you know what that is?
Highway
we
what?
talked about Highway.
You're right.
There was a thing, Highway and iDispatch Hub are getting together. It was in an email.
Huh.
We'll keep an eye on it. I don't know what
Okay.
it is, so we'll keep an eye on it for it. All right. Thank you so much, Sue. That was
No
awesome.
problem.
I got to tell you, sometimes I don't really feel like doing a show.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the show, I'm so glad. So
That
glad
we did the show.
Yeah. So, and this is why, like anything else, if you stop the momentum, let's say we were to go a month without doing a show,
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, oh, how do we get
Yeah.
back on the horse? So
Yeah.
just keep it going. So all right, cool. Thank you.
Okay. No
All
problem.
right, and I'm so glad you're feeling well. Janice, take care of that knee.
She's laying down.
She's laying down. Yeah,
She
Janice
is.
hurt her knee.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take
She
care
messed
of the
herself up.
Oh, man. She done messed herself up. Well, relax.
Yeah.
Take a load off. All right. All right, everybody. What do we say, Janice?
Goodbye, Sue.
Goodbye.
She's yelling
Bye,
from
Sue.
the other room.
All right, cool. Thanks so much. We'll see you in a week.
All right,
All
see
right,
you
take
guys.
care. Bye.
Okay, bye.